All right, welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be taking a look at Singham Again.
Oh.
Now I know. You're probably thinking another cop movie. Really?
Yeah, you've got to give us a little more than that.
But trust me on this one. This is not your average action flick.
Huh.
I mean, even just looking at the Wikipedia article, we're going beyond the explosions and the car chases.
It's making headlines. That's got to mean something.
Exactly. There's a reason this film is making headlines, and we're going to try to figure out why.
So, what's the big deal? What's the cultural context here?
Yeah, we're diving deep, folks. And you know something? Singham, again, isn't just a standalone movie.
Oh.
Right? It's actually part of a whole cinematic universe.
Whoa, hold on. Like a whole series.
Yeah. It's the fifth film in director Rohit Shetty's cop universe.
So there's been 4 other movies?
4 other films. And they've become incredibly popular in India. I mean, it's a whole thing.
Is this a Bollywood thing?
Yeah, you could say that. And it's kind of like, Marvel, but with police officers instead of superheroes.
That's kind of cool.
Right. And just like those superhero flicks, these cop films are drawing massive crowds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, big time.
I bet.
And you want to know something else? Singham, again, had a massive budget, too. Somewhere between 350 and 375 crore.
Wow. I can't even...
I know, right?
Is that a lot?
It's a lot. One of the most extensive Indian films ever. And it's up there globally, too, even among non-English films.
So this is a big gamble for the producers, though.
Oh, yeah. But it seems to have paid off because, get this, the film has already brought in 389.64 crore worldwide.
No way!
I know. It's wild, right? It's the third highest grossing Hindi film of 2024.
So clearly they're doing something right. What's the story about?
Yeah, what is the story that's drawing in all these viewers?
Right.
What's the plot? Tell us everything.
All right, well, the film focuses on this character, BCP, Bajirao Singham. He's a tough cop, very uncompromising. And we've actually seen him before.
Oh, so he's like the main guy in this whole cop universe thing.
Yeah, he's been in the earlier films. And this time, he's up against this dangerous drug syndicate.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, it's a pretty classic setup, but there's a twist. The leader of this syndicate, he's the grandson of a terrorist leader, and he wants revenge.
Oh, so it's getting personal.
Very personal. So we've got high-stakes action, a vendetta, and this whole terrorism angle, classic action movie elements.
It sounds intense. And you mentioned that cop universe thing earlier. So how does Singham Again actually connect to these other films?
Well, you'll see some familiar faces from the previous films, like characters from Singham, Simba, and Suryavanshi.
We're all in this one.
Yep, they team up with Singham to, take down the bad guys.
So it's like a big team up, like in those Marvel movies.
Exactly. Different superheroes, or in this case, super cops, joining forces.
That's a pretty cool way to keep the audience engaged.
Oh, yeah. And it builds excitement for each new film.
It's like a reward for the fans, They get to see all these characters they love interacting and working together.
Exactly.
It's smart. So it's not just about the action then. There's this whole other layer for the fans.
There is. But is there more to the film than just action and the crossover appeal?
I mean, come on. There's got to be more, right?
Oh, there definitely is. The film's not just mindless action. It also brings in family drama.
Oh, interesting.
And there's some patriotic themes, too. And get this, it even draws on Hindu mythology.
Wait. Hold on a sec. Mythology. You have to tell me more about that.
Well, for example, there are scenes from a Ram Leela performance in the film.
Ram Leela, what's that?
Okay, so Ram Leela is this traditional enactment of the Hindu epic, the Ramayana. It's usually performed during the festival of Dussehra.
Okay, I'm going to be honest, I'm not super familiar with Hindu mythology.
All right, no worries. So the Ramayana, it's one of the most important epics in Hindu literature.
Okay.
It tells the story of Lord Ram, his wife Sita, and his loyal brother Lakshman. And it's a tale of good versus evil, duty, love, and sacrifice.
So, heavy stuff.
Pretty much. And they're including scenes from this in the film. It adds a layer of cultural significance, connects it back to these ancient stories that are still very much alive in Indian culture.
So it's more than just throwing in some mythology for the heck of it.
Right. They're trying to connect the characters in the film to these mythological figures. It's like they're saying something deeper.
That's super interesting. So it's more than just a mindless action flick. It's tapping into this whole other level of meaning, these deep-rooted cultural narratives.
Exactly. It adds a whole new dimension to the film. And speaking of adding layers, can we talk about this cast for a second?
Oh, man, the cast. It's like a who's who of Bollywood stars.
Absolutely. You've got Ajay Devgn, obviously back as Singham.
Had to have him, right?
Right. But the supporting cast is insane. Akshay Kumar, Ranveer Singh, Tiger Shroff.
Don't forget the amazing women.
Yeah.
Kareena Kapoor Khan and Deepika Padukone.
Oh, yeah. And then there's a surprise cameo.
A cameo? Who is it?
Salman Khan. He's back as the iconic Chulbul Pandey.
No way. From Dabang.
You got it. That's another hugely popular franchise, so having him show up in Singham Again is a huge draw for fans.
It's like they just gathered all the biggest Bollywood stars and said, let's make a movie.
Basically. They went all out for this one.
Yeah, they went big. Speaking of going big, where did they even film this thing? The locations look amazing.
Oh, they filmed all over Mumbai, Hyderabad, Kashmir.
I think Sri Lanka too, right?
Sri Lanka too, yeah. They really wanted to create this visually spectacular film.
And I heard a story about Ajay Devgn. He injured his eye during an action sequence.
Oh, yeah. Talk about dedication.
Ouch. I bet those action scenes were intense.
Oh, yeah. They definitely didn't hold back on the physicality. What about the music? Have you heard the soundtrack?
I have. It's super catchy. Who composed it?
It was a team effort. Ravi Basrur and Tamanas.
Ravi Basrur, he did the KGF films, right?
Yeah.
Those are pretty epic.
That's the one. He's known for that high-octane action vibe, so he was a perfect fit for Singham Again.
Makes sense. And speaking of music, wasn't there some kind of controversy? Something about copyright issues?
Ah, yes. There were some initial problems with the title track. Apparently, it had elements from the Singham themes, which are owned by T-Series.
Uh-oh. Legal trouble.
Yeah, they had to make some edits to avoid any lawsuits.
The joys of the music biz. Always a bit of drama, but it sounds like they sorted it out. So let's recap. We've got this action-packed film, part of a larger cop universe, with a huge cast, incredible locations, and it's even drawing inspiration from ancient mythology. That's a lot.
It's a lot to process, and honestly, we've only scratched the surface. There's a whole lot more to unpack, especially when we start thinking about the cultural significance and the impact this film is having on Indian cinema.
Well, I'm ready to unpack it. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll dig into those deeper layers. We're going to explore what Singham Again tells us about India today.
Sounds good to me. Let's dive in. So we've talked about how Singham Again is this big visual spectacle, right? Huge budget, stars everywhere, and a plot that pulls from both like real world problems like drug trafficking and those ancient myths we were talking about.
Yeah, it's a wild mix.
It is. But what I think is really interesting is what it all means, in the bigger picture of Indian cinema. Is it just a fun popcorn action flick? Or is there something more going on here?
Yeah. Is it just the star power, the marketing machine riding the wave of the whole cop universe? Or is it like tapping into some kind of deeper cultural shift,
Well, if we think about it, the release date is interesting. November 1st. That was a Diwali, right?
Diwali. One of the biggest festivals in India. That's got to be significant.
It is. I think that timing probably played a big part in why it did so well at the box office.
Makes sense. Diwali, it's all about celebration, families getting together, maybe squeezing in a movie about good defeating evil.
Exactly. Diwali is a time when people are looking for that kind of entertainment, something that reinforces those values. Family, good versus evil, the triumph of light over darkness. And Singham Again definitely delivers that with its very clear heroes and villains.
But it's not just good versus evil, right? It's not that simple.
Yeah.
The film touches on some pretty real issues like corruption, drug trafficking, terrorism, stuff that people in India deal with every day.
Oh, absolutely. It weaves in those real-world concerns into this high-octane action narrative, so it manages to be entertaining and kind of thought-provoking at the same time.
Like a modern-day morality play, but with explosions and stuff.
Right, a morality play with car chases and some seriously awesome fight scenes. It does make you wonder if that's part of the appeal, this blend of action and this traditional values.
Yeah, like it's giving the audience what they want, but also making them think a little bit.
I think you're right. And remember those mythological parallels we talked about?
Yeah, where the characters are kind of like figures from the Ramayana.
Exactly. Those parallels also help to connect the film to a sense of cultural identity, to shared values.
It's like it's speaking to this desire for stories that feel familiar, rooted in tradition, but are still relevant to what's happening today.
Yeah, they're looking for that balance, the old and the new. And Singham Again seems to strike that balance.
So we're saying Singham Again isn't just a cop movie. It's like this cultural phenomenon, reflecting anxieties, aspirations, maybe even how a whole nation's tastes in entertainment are changing.
It really makes you think about the power of film, right? To both show us what's going on in a culture and actually influence the culture itself.
Yeah, wow. But you know what we haven't talked about yet? How the film did internationally.
Oh, right. It was a huge success globally, but it also faced some controversy.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. What happened?
Well, it was actually banned in Saudi Arabia.
A ban. Seriously.
Yep. They said it was because of how it portrayed religious conflict, specifically Hindu-Muslim tensions.
That's pretty big. It shows that a film's impact, culturally, it can go way beyond just the country where it was made. It can spark debate, even censorship.
Right. And it raises questions about how entertainment is becoming globalized. As films cross borders, they're going to bump up against different interpretations, different sensitivities, and that can lead to some unexpected outcomes.
Yeah, it's like a reminder that how a film is received, it's not always going to be how it was intended, especially when you're looking at it through these different cultural lenses,
For sure. And it highlights how complicated it can be to navigate cultural differences in this globalized world. Something that's totally acceptable in one place can be like super controversial somewhere else.
So Singham Again might look like just a fun, action-packed movie on the surface. But underneath all that, it's sparking these conversations about cultural identity, about representation, about the power dynamics of global media.
It reminds us that even a movie that seems like pure entertainment can have these layers of meaning and social commentary, It can spark debate and make us rethink our perspectives.
It always seems like you have this knack for ending on a question that makes us think. So what's the final thought-provoking question you leave us with about Singham Again? It really is fascinating, isn't it? How something meant to be pure entertainment can end up being so much more.
Yeah, it's like you go in expecting a fun time and you come out thinking about global politics and cultural identity.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. And it leads to some pretty big questions, like what does the success of Singham Again tell us? I mean, it was huge in India, but it was also a hit globally.
Yeah, it really resonated with people everywhere.
It did. So does that mean there's this growing appetite for these kinds of films?
Yeah.
Action-packed spectacles that are also tied into these traditional stories and values.
It's like people are craving that mix of the familiar and the exciting, right?
Maybe. Or maybe, and this is the other side of the coin, maybe it's just a really, really well-made product.
It's a product.
Yeah, like the film industry knows what it's doing. They know their audience. They know how to give them what they want.
So it could be as simple as just brilliant marketing and using those big stars.
Right. Working within a successful franchise like the Cop universe, they're playing it smart.
But it can't just be that, right? There has to be something about the story itself that people are connecting with.
Oh, definitely. It's got to be both, I think. The audience's desire for this kind of story and the filmmaker's skill at delivering it. It's like a perfect storm.
So what does this mean for all of us? Like, what should we take away from this deep dive into Singham Again?
Well, for me, it's a reminder to look beyond the surface. Even with something as seemingly simple as a popcorn action movie.
There can be so much more going on underneath.
Exactly. It's about being open to those layers of meaning, those deeper discussions that a film can spark, even if it's not trying to be super intellectual.
Sometimes those unexpected conversations are the most interesting ones, right?
Totally. So if you haven't seen Singham Again yet, I say check it out. Go in with an open mind. You might be surprised by what you discover.
About the film and about yourself. And hey, you might even find yourself thinking about the future of movies, how global cinema is changing, the role of culture in this crazy interconnected world we live in. That's what a good deep dive does. It takes you to unexpected places.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And with that, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into Singham Again.
We hope you enjoyed exploring this film with us, and we can't wait to have you back for our next deep dive into, well, you'll just have to wait and see.
The mystery continues.
Keep those brains buzzing, everyone, and stay curious.